Today we are joined by Rob Pene, the founder of NIL Deal Finder Pro. Rob is a former scholarship athlete and also a veteran sales coach who moved from the baseball diamond rather, to building the strategic infrastructure for the modern athlete. So today, in a world where most NIL advice is just noise, Rob is building the system that allows players to treat their personal brand like a business rather than a side hustle. And so today we'll also be discussing the new NCAA rules, why $600 is the most dangerous number in your bank account, and how to build equity that survives the 4-year scholarship. It's great to have you here, Rob. Appreciate you.
Good, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, dude.
Fantastic. So first of all, a good place to start, I guess, is to just dive into your journey, how you got to where you are now. And
cool. Yeah, I grew up on an island in the South Pacific, a tiny island called American Samoa. It's in the middle of Hawaii and Australia, like in that body of ocean where there's literally nothing. We were one of the Fiji, Tahiti, all those tiny islands.
It looks beautiful. I just checked it out.
Yeah. It's cool. It's paradise, man. And I couldn't stand it. Yep. Couldn't stand it.
No way.
It was too small, too perfect. I just needed out. So growing up there, that's where I learned the math, English is a second language, so learned all that stuff and was able to play basketball, football, cricket, volleyball, and then baseball. That's what we just play for fun. But Tony Soloita was the first Major League Baseball player of Samoan ancestry. He developed the program, built the field there, and that's how I ended up learning the sport and just with it and kept playing. I did play football though. I was pretty fast, but I'm not big like all the other, football players and stuff. So baseball was my kind of forte. That actually was my ticket off the island. Yeah.
Amazing. So was it like, was it quite kind of isolated and there wasn't much facilities to play sport initially? And so that was like one of the only kind of grounds where you could play?
Yeah. Now, cricket and volleyball, you could play anywhere. And then basketball, there's a few rims and stuff, different locations. And we'd put like the buckets, we'd cut the buckets in half, put it on a light pole and then play there. But baseball was very similar to cricket. So there was an interest there. But for some reason, it just intrigued me with the glove and, the bat, all that stuff. It was really interesting. So the field was pretty far, so I had to catch the bus and catch a ride. And this is when I was young, man. Football too. Football, there were a few just open fields that we played, but definitely a lack of facility is just part of the culture. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It is what it is.
And then you moved out to America, right? When you got that scholarship. So maybe talk a bit about how you led up to that point.
Yeah. So I actually was offered a scholarship when I was playing in Australia. I made the American Samoa national team back in 90 something, where we went to Australia to qualify for the Olympics. It was 95. Whoa. We were trying to qualify for the 96 Olympics. And when I was playing, the USA liaison from America, USA Baseball, with Australia was there. He was the head coach and athletic director at a private school in Michigan. Okay. So he saw us play and then he asked me, hey, do you want to come play for me? I'm like, yeah, great, dude. Michigan, I don't know where that's at, but I'm there.
Absolutely. Cool. Amazing. And then, so how did you, what's the story like in between that time and your scholarship and then founding this company, NIL Finder?
It's been years.
Yeah.
So 4 years of college baseball. I made the USA All-Star team to a tournament in Prague. So my senior year, I played on that team, and then I flew out here to Los Angeles to work out with the Dodgers and the Tigers. I was an undrafted free agent, so we're just whatever you could do to get looks, And I came here, worked out, got some good looks, got the invite, but then I got hurt too, because I was working full time and then, training and going on the showcases on the weekends, and I threw my arm out. But was interesting, and that was back in 2001. I think in 2001, one of those. Flashback, we did not win, obviously. We did not go to the Olympics because Australia beat us. So they went to the Olympics in Atlanta. However, I was fortunate enough to go to that to the Olympics in Atlanta to represent our country. And while I was there in Atlanta, I got to meet Coach Burbridge, Hank Burbridge. He was the one that recruited me. So from there, and then every baseball journey beyond that, Coach Burbridge was a part of it, including when I graduated, we went to Prague for that championship. He was the head coach, and then I played there. I was a second baseman. My shortstop was Chris, what's his name? I forgot his last name, but he played for the Brewers, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay.
Now, when I got hurt, when the invite came from the Dodgers, a guy that I roomed with back in 96, I got hurt in 2000, back in 96, he was following me, and then he ended up working in Major League Baseball. So he got in contact with me in 2000. He's like, hey, man, you should come out here. Long story short is I ended up going to London, doing my rehab there in their top tier league, but being a coach for Major League Baseball. And they were flying me all over Europe, you know, to stand in front of countries where English is the second language as well, to promote the sport and to coach the sport. But while I was there, I got to meet a bunch of different GMs and owners and just, you know, network and stuff. So when I came back, I signed with the team in Florida, did spring training, and got along with some guys. And the guys that I did get along with that got released, I helped to sign overseas because of the contacts that I had made.
Yeah.
And the guys that I didn't like that got released, I'm like, yeah, go home. You know?
You're the gatekeeper. Yeah.
Yeah, fend for yourself. So that taught me how to assess the market, broader terms, right, in general, how to assess the market and find what the problem is, and then create a solution and bridge that gap. So I think it was about 35 players we ended up connecting during that time.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then I got hurt again. I played a couple years, got hurt again. Then I just jumped right into teaching. Now,
Yeah.
when I was a public school teacher, I taught at the World Trade Center in Los Angeles. And I remember having the Baseball America book, right? And they publish it every year. Now, in there, at the time, they had contacts for all of the MLB teams. So I already had a track record of placing players. And I knew that, man, there's opportunity for guys that get released. So I was at the World Trade Center teaching, and in the parking lot, I would try to make calls, but I couldn't because I was so scared to call Major League Baseball teams, thinking that they'll say, no, you never played big leagues, we're not going to listen to you. You weren't a big-time player, we're not going to listen. You're not an agent, you don't have money to be an agent. All these limiting beliefs, all these lies. So I told myself, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I suck. They're going to say you're the worst. You're stupid. English is your second language. You're ugly. That's what I believed. They were going to say all these things. And then Friday, I got fed up. I'm like, dude, I have nothing to lose. I just picked up the phone and called. And lo and behold, I talked to the Chicago Cubs. They said, great, let me patch you into the international department, talk to those guys. And they're like, all right, perfect. What's your email? We'll put you on our release list. So when they release players for spring training, they usually send an email out to the different teams and other organizations in case they want them. So I was the few, and long story short, I ended up being on 20 teams and their wire of released players. So there, I realized, yo, great contacts, man. I'm like, they did not say you're ugly. They did not say you're stupid. They did not say because whatever it is, nothing, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea behind this tool that we built. So we call it the character engine, is we want to provide opportunities for people from parents, ambitious athletes, entrepreneurial sports agents, and then NIL departments and organizations and stuff to give them the opportunity to build their business using our tool. And it's centered around calling, right? Overcoming that, it's building that resilience. So it was a great kind of marriage in terms of concept to software, and
seamless.
Very interesting, very interesting. But that's at the end of the day, that's our goal. My co-founder and I, our goal is to help build up athletes and their families, right? And give them opportunities to learn, but create this really strong skill set that can translate off the field.
Yeah. There's perfect skill set kind of, or lessons, I guess you could say in there, isn't it? Like with sales or with anything, you know, if you want to achieve anything, man, you just got to try. Like, I think everybody is scared of trying. And, you know, the reality is you got to try a hell of a lot, but like it just counts. You just need one. That one win is like the most important. Then when you see you can do it one time, it's like, okay, there's some potential here. And then you just keep going. Right?
Yeah. I like that. There's an idea that I need to build out. The premise is if you try in one area, if you just attempt in one area, another area of your life will succeed as a direct correlation.
Okay, yeah. For a generally applicable skill.
Yeah. So if you go to knock on doors and you get the door slammed on, you'll get a girlfriend that you've wanted to get, but you've been afraid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
I want to prove that out with case studies and just in general. But from my experience in life, That's what I see. Yeah.
Mm,
Things change when you just change the way you think about one thing, but
yeah.
everything around you will change.
Percent. Yeah, there's definitely some like core limiting beliefs or just core, how would you say? It's like templates of thinking, isn't it? Like
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. And it's, I guess, also like how you're brought up in a way. If your parents teach you a certain way, you're going to approach things like that in the future. So yeah, man, absolutely. You got to rewrite history sometimes.
Yeah. So a friend of mine said you could rewire your brain to rewrite your own history. Yeah,
Mm,
if you can change it. And I mean, yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Good. So is that something that you're kind of helping within your platform, these athletes kind of just go through themselves and understand, right? Yeah. Is that like a person to person thing at any point, coaching, or is it like more kind of, digital? Like, how does that look?
Yeah, so it's internal, right? The first thing, especially on sales. So let me frame it this way: if you're a salesperson and you're pitching a high ticket offer,
Mm,
right? Let's say it's a $50,000 offer, and you're on with somebody, a prospect, client, right? And then that big question comes in at the end, saying, "Okay, so how much does it cost?" Right? Obviously, as a sales guy, you're like, "There's no cost; it's an investment." But here's the price: it's 50,000, and then you shut up, right? Now, what's happening at that point is the prospect is sitting there, is now faced with the reality of $50,000 and then telling them all these lies. I'm not worth it, or oh, that's too expensive, and whatever, right? So you're letting them sit in that kind of space of reality. And then
mm,
now you become the coach to pull them out of that reality because they're thinking that's too expensive. And what they're saying is, I'm not worth it.
mm,
Right? It's that tiny little voice saying, "I'm not worth it." Even if it was $100,000, or
yeah.
even if it was $1, they'd be like, "Okay, whatever." But the same principle happens inside the tool. Is when they're faced with the fact that you need to place a phone call, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna hem and haw and be like, "I don't want to make a call because of X, Y, and Z." They'll make all these excuses, and they're essentially
No.
saying, "I'm not worth it." So it's a subtle building of behavior that will overcome that tiny but very loud, insecure voice in them, right? So that's the
Definitely.
idea behind it. It's based off of actions,
Yes.
small actions. If you get a small win by moving the pipeline because you did call, just a
Mm,
tiny little move of that pipeline, and then you add your notes, we reward you for it. So you literally
brilliant.
see points stack up because of you creating those meaningful behaviors and consistently, right? So it's that subtle building of a routine
Yeah.
that eventually turn them into a machine when they realize, oh, okay, this is what actual real business does by
Yeah.
tracking, following up and following through and just doing it consistently.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
it'll start with, "Nah, I don't know if I should call. I don't know." They'll look at the leads and like, yeah, and then they'll create some kind of excuse. Nah, just call, bro. Just call,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Absolutely. You got to gamify it sometimes. It sounds like that's what you've kind of done. So it's like gamified CRM to
Yes.
it with business, opportunities. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. You can only do one search per day. So let's say you're on the plan that gives you 8 leads, right? 8 opportunities. So you can only press that search button once and then you get to work those 8 today. Then tomorrow you work a different 8.
Okay.
But if you just unlimited, you're not going to work anything because you'll be overwhelmed and
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, paralyzed, whatever.
Yeah.
So because you can only do it once a day, if you accumulate points and credits, it unlocks the search feature again, so you can search again.
Okay. Okay. So you've got to make the first step
Yeah.
to unlock the next day. Okay. Great. Good. And so is there like a kind of, deal database that people can search for? Is that basically what it's backed by, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 ways that you can work opportunities. So one is our database of 50,000 companies that are in there that we've kind of curated, scraped, scrubbed, run through our algorithm, and then publish. And then there's also the Google Places, the hyperlocal, right? So the regular database is 50,000, 25 minimum radius around you, up to
Okay.
100. Hyperlocal is 20 miles down, right? So 20 miles to 1 mile. So you can work those leads or you can work the Google Places, the Google Maps. The only big difference is, well, there's 2 actually, but the biggest difference is the Google Maps only phone numbers, whereas the other one has phone number, email, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can save them all into the CRM so you can, as a good business owner, a good entrepreneur, you'll come back to your CRM and work your pipeline.
Yeah. Definitely. Amazing, man. Okay, so let's talk about spirit-based selling, right? And because this is something that I've, seen and then been like, right, I really super resonate with this, like, and completely agree. I think that, I've done sales in the past for companies that I don't necessarily believe in, with products that I don't believe in. I think it's similar kind of concept. It's like, if you don't believe in a product that you're selling, you're not going to have good conversations. It's going to be very visible in you that you're not going to be able to sell it in a good way, right? If you believe in a product, though, it's like you're a natural salesperson. You don't even have to have much experience, but it just comes out. So yeah, like how do you help athletes and the entrepreneurs, etc., kind of use that to their advantage?
Yeah, it comes down to identity, right? Is how well do you know yourself?
Yeah.
And then it goes even deeper is how well do you know the creator who created you, right? There's the book in the Bible, Jeremiah, where it says, God knew you before you were born. Right. So
Yep.
I believe in purpose. I believe in the objective standard, right? The first cause per se in God. So we all have a uniqueness. We all have a purpose, right? And the more you know who you are, the easier the sell becomes, because like you said, yeah, it's just kind of comes out.
Yeah.
But if there's interest connections, or if there's a piece that resonates with you because of who you are, then the sky's the limit. They'll feel the energy. Then now you're not limited to a script per se. Then your stories become more relatable.
Yeah.
Flows out of you because you know who you are. So in our tool, it's not mandatory. It's not even published anywhere, publicized anywhere, but it's kind of hidden in the profile section. You click the profile and then it'll say, hey, fill out all these. It's a long onboarding like piece.
Okay. Yeah.
Everything, my first car, it'd be literally everything. But what happens is when you go through the process of answering those questions, they're not common questions that you would ask and answer daily, but you're going to then do the homework to extract all these things about you to put it in there. Now, this then becomes, right, your brag bank. It's truly who you are. I saw this TikTok video the other day, and the speaker was on there, and he's grilling the person that came up. The person came up and said, hey, I need help with my pitch. I'm really good at what I do, and I'm a plumber, and we've been in business for 15 years, and I feel like I can grow. And then the guy on stage says, no, I'm not going to buy from you, because anybody can say that. And then he goes, here's what you should say. The guy on stage says, you should say that you're discerning, you're a small boutique business, and you do great work. I'm listening, I'm like, no, I won't buy from you either. Because you're saying everything that my dead grandma and my dead fish can say. I work hard. Right? No, you don't use that. What you need to do is you need to tell your story. There's a uniqueness in you, right? So here's a clear example. Right? For me, dude, I grew up in American Samoa and I played at Prague, right? And I traveled the country, and guess what? I drove from Italy to Germany in 26 hours, and I got to our destination with no map and no nap. I was tired, but I didn't sleep, right? But the fact that I trusted my instincts and I followed the path, right? I knew how to answer questions on what path do I go? What do I stay away from? That ability for me to synthesize material is why you should work with me, because I can look at what you do and then I can pull pieces that don't make sense. And I won't need a guide because it's just intuitive in me because of how curiosity has played a part in my life. All those, that imagery and all that stuff, the tagline, that's different. That's going to stick. That's going to hit easier. And nobody can tell that story. Right? That is going to get you the close any day, because you know who you are and you can tell who you are, and nobody can tell and use the verbiage and all that stuff. So why we build in the profile thing, it forces them to do the work to answer all these lots of questions. You fill it out once, but then AI can kind of take it and customize it to the opportunity, to the business, so that it fits who you are. Crazy.
Yeah. That's really smart. Yeah, it is. Storytelling is so important. It's like we've evolved with stories. We've connected with people through stories, and or even read and understood stories. And it's just you could either say I know where I'm going, or you could tell that story. It's just like one is much more attractive. So
it's the spirit of the person and the lens through which you tell it that becomes the glue.
Yeah.
Right. So
did you find that when you were connecting the athletes, when you opened up those opportunities, or did you find that yourself? How did you come to that conclusion?
I think when I was young, I was just really good at kind of the making friends,
Mm,
and just saying, hey, here's a good thing. And like, you need a pitcher, and this guy's great. He can do this and he's cheap, so
yeah.
make it work. But I think anybody could have done it. I just had the connections.
Mm,
And that was why Major League Baseball found me intriguing. These
mm,
from the Giants to the Cubs to the Astros, that's why they took my calls, because I had something that was untapped or something that they didn't have, right?
mm. Fantastic.
Yeah, so when you have that, it's easier. But let's say you don't have anything special. You don't have anything that you can leverage. It's really going to come down to how you view the situation, how you can connect with it, right? And then how you can tell that story. And at that point, anybody can sell as long as they know themselves. Because if God knew you before you were born, then that means he also knew who you were going to become, and the milestones in your life could be things that you can grow from and use, right, in your experience to be unique. So it's just going through that personal kind of assessment to pull it out.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's hard. It really is hard. You just got to either know how to facilitate it yourself, or yeah, just be hyper aware and have somebody do it with you.
Yeah, amazing. Great advice. Love it. Okay, so let's dive into the deep end a little bit. Why is $600 the most dangerous number in an athlete's bank account right now?
So I would say a lot more, or a lot less. But when you're reporting technically to the governing bodies, there's that threshold. Now every state is different too, and every level is different. But the key, whether it's the 600 or a 6,000, is reporting. You have to report it, but you also have to make sure that it's in line with. And this is where it gets great, like NIL, right? Name, image, and likeness. If you represent a school and their name, image, and likeness, right, is inside your content per se, then that could be a violation, even if you report. But if it's just you and your name, image, and likeness without any representation or logos, so let's do a video, you got the logo of USC behind you, and you report that it doesn't work, and you're under a certain age group, it doesn't work. But you name, image, and likeness for yourself, whether it's 600 or more, you're fine, because it's independent from any of the other, trademarks. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you just have to report. Yeah, which
Yeah,
sucks. You just got to
it
do it.
is what it is.
Now in high school, that's different though. In high school, it's different. You don't have to report anything, unless not to the school per se, but you want to do good business by letting them know. But once you collect money, obviously you got to work with your parents, and then you operate as a business, and then that needs to be reported to the IRS and the state. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Either
Okay.
way, either way, it's all going to come down to reporting, because if you don't, yeah, could be bad.
Yeah, definitely. So, could you talk a bit about how the system helps an athlete stay in the school's good graces and helps athletic directors manage the revenue sharing cap?
So if you come in and you manage your own and you build a brand and you've got your own system and you're not relying on them, it
Mm,
decreases the bandwidth, or it decreases the burden that they have to, like, oh my gosh, because they want to pay everybody, right? But they also want to pay the right people so they get the right eyeballs and the right reputation on it. So it's not really imperative for them to get money for the lesser known players, but it's still a burden on them because they want to do good, right? Because if half the team doesn't get money or just gets $5, it's going to look bad. So then recruiting's bad,
yeah.
right? But if you come in and you can do your own thing, right, then it just decreases the burden, and then you spread the word. It helps the athletic director. Now, this is great for the athletic directors too, because they can put their team on this tool to find all the deals for the lesser known players.
Yeah.
And just kind of, it becomes equitable, right? You've got the rev share that can be divvied up, but then they still have to do percentages for whatever the star is and all that stuff.
Mm,
But if you have our tool, then that just opens up a whole nother opportunity where it can be, either given directly to a player who's ambitious,
mhm.
or you just give the tool and then you manage it while they go and pursue it. So our tool helps to lessen the blow per se for the organizations, because it opens up a whole nother opportunity. Now, D2, JUCO, this actually could be a huge recruiting tool because D2 doesn't have a lot of money. JUCO, NIA, they don't have a lot of NIL money, right? So what this does is, hey, we can help you make your money because we have a tool that'll allow you to get in touch, to find the contacts, to get in touch with them, and to track it, right? And to manage the whole process. So the education piece is huge for us right now. So that's why this is really huge. But once the athletic directors know, oh, this is a major recruiting tool for us, then the rest is history.
Fantastic. And you're talking, when you say recruiting, about the athletes themselves?
For the schools to recruit athletes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So let's say I'm at like Sonoma County, whatever, and I'm the coach, and it's me versus the D1. But that dude's going to sit on the bench at D1 and only get $500 a month for rev share.
Yeah.
But if I go to him and say, hey, we've got players that made $5,000 a month on their own because we help them with this process. We have a system, and you'll grow to become this entrepreneur, right? So it's a very different story because they'll go like, money is what makes things different, because $500 a month and to sit on the bench, get nothing, whatever, but you're still working and working hard, and you probably never will play in the 4 years. Just making 500 is very different than making $5,000 a month and still competing at a high level, right? But you have better opportunities to grow. Yeah. So recruiting in that sense, this tool can level the playing field for the small.
Fantastic. And why as well, just out of curiosity, being a layman in this industry, why was the cap set at 20.5 million per school in terms of distribution?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know the specifics around it. But if you dig deeper, boosters spend a lot of money, right? And I think just issuing a cap in general is supposed to level the playing field.
Okay.
Now, it does for schools, right? It does, but it doesn't really dictate what happens inside the schools. So they'll take that cap money, but then they still have to divvy it up. And the 99% is still going to get, the worst end of the stick anyways. But it just places it, I guess it makes it a little more competitive and equitable for everyone by placing a cap. And schools have been spending that amount of money anyways in the past, right? So now it's out in the air and it's a little more structured.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. All right, good. So next question, why is a small loyal audience often worth more to a brand than a million fake followers?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Having smaller loyal followers obviously increases your chances of making an impact because they're real. If you get crazy fake followers, the engagement's going to go down. Now, it's good for perception, and that's why people did it, right? Because it looks good. So it's social. But the market's matured so much, so rapidly that it's not about perception anymore. It's about engagement, right? It's about impact that you make, the friends and all that stuff that you can create. Having 10, like here, my daughter, she only has 3 Instagram followers. And in her season, 12 games, she was supposed to contribute $375 as a player to the team to fundraise. She only suited up once, like dressed once and sat on the bench. But for the other 11 games, she wasn't even on the bench. She was up in the stands wearing the jersey, right? But she contributed more than the $375 because she landed $1,000 deal and a $250 deal, right? With 3 Instagram followers, and I'm one of them. The reason why that worked is she knew the market, she knew the problem, and then she also knew how to suggest a solution as another option. You don't have to like pitch them dead on, but like, yo, whatever, then use all the sales stuff. No, it was just like, hey, I know you pay for content, and I can do content, and you probably spend like $3,000. Well, let's do this. Maybe you can try me $4,000 and I'll give you 8 videos. Okay. Right? Because she wasn't promoting on hers. She just delivered the product. So when you have that type of network, it's much easier to recommend a suggested solution than not having a network at all. A network of followers. That's not a network.
Exactly. And actually also in terms of numbers, long term, it's actually likely going to kill your, like you said, it's going to kill your engagement. Like the proportion of people who are engaging with your output is going to be extremely low. So then the algorithm is going to be like, okay, none of the followers for this account are engaging. Therefore, we're going to, keep the views at 200. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. So yeah, with schools now putting sponsor patches on uniforms, could you talk a bit about how to stop an athlete's personal deal from clashing with the major school contract?
Obviously, you gotta have a good agent that can read the contracts, can read the fine print, because you definitely don't want to compete, right, with your own school, and because that's not going to work.
Mm.
But what you can negotiate is your own deal, not them sponsor. So it's the difference between activation and perception. So some activations are okay, sponsor logo. That's a cool active, but that's more perception, right? But if you're really concerned about the ROI and delivering something valuable for the company, right, for your sponsor, then the activation piece really is truly active, meaning it's not just going to be a static image somewhere. You're actually going to do something. So an example is you go to a local car dealership, right? And maybe the school pitched them last year on a sponsorship deal where they'll plaster their logo everywhere. That's great. But how many people came through to buy a thing at this? How many leads did you get from that logo placement?
Yeah.
Right? We don't know. But if you create an activation to where, okay, now me as an athlete, I would say, hey, let's do this, man. You give me exactly what you gave them, but I can guarantee you that I'll bring in, 30 families that display buying behaviors and are in pocket for a new car, right? If I walk them in, so then what I would do is I'd create some kind of event, right, to celebrate me at school, but host it at the dealership. And then I would go to my uncles and aunts and all those guys who I know. I would only actually go to the ones that have old cars or that's got, and obviously there's buying behaviors because they have to buy groceries. Like they're working, they spend money, and they're in a position to where they need to kind of look. And then when they come on site to the dealership, we would do a test drive on this really new car that's not even out. So now they get in to test it, and that activation is a lot different than a logo placement. Right. So in that way, it makes it easier for the individual athlete to not clash with the logos. Right. You just have to be above board and clear on the description and the deal. Your attorneys will work through all that stuff. But as long as none of their school is involved in any of what you're doing, you can go direct and it's all above board. Yeah. No thing.
Yeah. So in your experience, like, those companies that have the sponsor an event, let's say, and have their logos plastered everywhere, would you say it's usually the companies that are larger and more focused on just exposure rather than, like, for some reason, rather than leads and revenue?
Reputation. Or not reputation and relationships. So some of those companies, they don't even look at the deal because they've been sponsoring for years based on the relationship that was established years ago.
Yeah.
So that's why if you go in with a fresh angle, you might be able to redirect that money, right? Or create a new lane and say, okay, you can do the same logo thing, but it'll whatever, but let's try this new thing, right? But exposure is huge, and bigger companies, doesn't matter, but they're always looking for a return. But it's based on the reputation and the relationship that was established that gets honored, even if there is no return, because it's based off that whatever deal that was there. There are a lot of companies that, they literally can't track the return, but it's because of the relationship that was there.
Yeah. I guess legacy companies.
Yeah. You can audit it and you can see, nothing came in for that $50,000 sponsorship. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, I guess, like, I'm just thinking of, like, the football stadium sponsors. Like a big one for us in the UK is like Santander. I think I see them quite a lot on football stadium, sidelines, and it is just like, they can't really track. I mean, but that's likely a very good one because that is obviously thousands of people in the audience, and
Yeah, but it's also branding too, right? So the difference between branding and marketing, right? Branding is literally branding. It's exposure, right?
Yeah.
Marketing, we're trying to generate leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yep. What is one question a parent should ask to see if an NIL deal is legitimate or a scam?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, contracts.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see the deal.
Yeah. Read it. What if it's like 30 pages long?
Well, that's why you have your GPT and you have your lawyer, but you can go to Claude, Perplexity GPT, and then just say, hey, pretend to be this killer lawyer that never lost in their life, and I want you to rip this thing apart, and then just know how to ask questions back and forth. Like, hey, am I gonna get got over here?
Mm, yeah,
Yeah, protect me. GPT. That's the easiest, best way.
100%, man.
Legalities. Yeah. If it's a scam, you'll tell.
Yeah. Have you had any like bad experiences with the athletes that are kind of working to find the leads through your platform? Or, I mean, you probably select the companies quite carefully, obviously, don't you? And like make sure they're
Yeah.
established.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
companies that are inside of our database, we've scrubbed it for certain criterias,
Yeah.
revenue thresholds, and then also expenses. So the ones that don't spend on marketing, we don't put it in there. And the ones that don't have $1 million or more revenue year, obviously that's not going in there. And we try to stay above 500, but the minimum would be a million, because all those things assume that they've got their ducks in a row.
Yeah. No, definitely. Okay, so it's like pre-qualified well, manually, and you've done your research on them. Good.
Yeah, and that's why some people think like it's Google. And it's just a more, and it is, yeah, it's a search engine, but we've taken it as further as we can closer to the end zone without guessing, right? Because if you Google, it'd be tough to like, find these companies verified and all that stuff with their revenue. Whereas we've done all that work because we've curated and paid for tools and all that stuff to get the information on these companies. Plus, I mean, AI
Yeah.
is really good right now with enrichment, dude, killer.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. And what are some of your great like kind of case studies as of recently? Like what's a success maybe in the last year that you would like to tell everybody, whether it's an athlete
Yeah.
director, a parent as well, like actually different kind of case studies for different kind of people you're working with, but whoever you would want to address it to.
Yeah, I wish we had case studies for the last year, because that would assume we've been in existence for a year. Dude, this is new. Yeah, this thing is brand new. But we've had some really good feedback on the people that's gone through and tested. So we've got from athletes to agents, even semi-pro teams. We've tailored the tool to also cater to semi-pro teams, because there's like 400 teams in one league that we've kind of engaged and talked with some of their players and their whatchamacallit, their reps. It's been, yeah, some good feedback from
Fantastic.
citing it to using the tool. And what we also do is we allow them to upload their leads too, so it can be managed internally. So the development of the tool completed in April. Was it April?
Okay.
No,
Damn.
March.
So literally. Okay.
But we've
Yeah.
been testing it, yeah, in February, March, and then April, and wait, it's May now. Yeah, so it's really new. The idea was birthed in October of 2025, and then it
That's
got
good.
built.
You've iterated on it pretty fast then, and you got it out, shipped it.
Yeah. So now it's
Brilliant.
trying to get it out there. It's almost enterprise sales for us. Is we're trying to go direct to bigger pockets like leagues. So the buy cycle is going to take a little longer. But for few from families, and so there's parents that are there, they understand the concept, so they're thinking about their kids and the state that they're going to go play at. So they're searching for that state and the companies around there, even though they
Yeah.
live in a different area. So that's the cool thing
Yeah.
about it. You can
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
Los Angeles, but if your kid's going to go to school in Nevada, yeah, find it, work it,
Yeah.
and then when they go there, done.
Absolutely. Good. And then many AI features in the platform? Yeah. Tons?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not all of it, but we have a role play AI. So we've got different categories. So we have a gym owner that makes 800,000 a year. Then we have a boutique fashion store that makes 3 million, and then you can talk to the marketing director. So we've got all these avatars built out, and then the different levels of difficulty. So the student or the parent or the agent can practice their
Yeah.
sales call with that
Yeah.
AI. Yeah.
Solid, man.
And
Good.
when you do that practice, you get points. You
Nah.
earn points, so
Yeah.
you can do a new search.
Yeah. And also, yeah, about the points, can they turn that into a currency for like unlocking different things in the platform? Is that like a feature you have yet?
So that's on the roadmap.
Yeah.
When you want to have a consultation with an attorney, you can unlock, right? And the attorney is like freaking $500 an hour or whatever. If you have X amount of credits, no, it's that 15-minute call is free. Yeah, because they're a partner of ours. So that's on the horizon. But right now, the only currency is to purchase the ability to do the smart search. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's just what they want. They just want more leads. Well, if you want more leads, then work the hyperlocal, because you get 16, 20. You get 20 leads per search. And yeah, so you literally can be on the free tier working 21 leads per day. Yeah.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also like, because I'm asking these questions because it's like we're developing our own software as well for podcast creation and stuff. So do you have an AI feature for people to like craft personalized outreach messages, or is it mainly like manual right now? You
Oh
do?
yeah.
Good.
Oh
Good,
yeah.
good.
So in our tool, so it's a 3-step process. You search for the leads, then you
Mhm.
send the message, and then you
Mm.
save the context, right? Save the
Yeah.
context is for the CRM. But when you
Amazing.
send the message, it's already pre-populated, right? Based on who you are. So if you're a parent,
Yeah.
customize it to the voice of the parent for the
Yeah.
athlete. If you're an athlete, the content changes, right? If you're a
Yeah.
team, yeah. So yeah, we have that.
Good.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's really easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to type anything. You just press, and then you're done for the day.
Yeah. I know a guy as well who's basically developing a guesting tool for podcasting. So people basically put in all the data, like you've said, with your platform. It understands you, then you go and basically say, I want to be on this type of podcast, and it will put together like outreach messages for you, it will book you on them and things like that. So it's pretty cool in that way too. And it makes me also like kind of off on a bit of a tangent though. Do you ever think, considering it's like early stage, getting on a podcast with the users or with the athletic directors and talking through the product, and then you get some UGC content, things like that?
Yeah, so we have a community
Okay.
component in the software. You click on that, and then you can go to the live stream. So the live stream, we'll be able to do a bunch of different things. We can either interview the brand director of a company that's looking to hire, right? Or interview, athletic director that's looking for a recruiting tool, or we'll interview a salesperson that would teach them how to sell, or
Yeah.
a copywriter, right? So we've got the live stream built in, and then yeah, once we bring people in, have them as a guest, it just publishes right there. Now, the people that do participate in there will get credits, get points, right? So they can kind of earn their points towards the credits. But yeah, all of
Brilliant.
that part of the ecosystem is there's a page specifically for, I guess it would be like the LinkedIn or something like that. And they can also vote on the different topics and the different people. So if they do vote, that's points.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Good. So, okay, moving to like the forward briefing and your vision for the future. So, as schools start paying players directly, what is the biggest change athletes need to prepare for right now to remain competitive?
Yeah, financial literacy, but more so knowing who you are, right? Is growing in your self-identity so that you can manage your finances better, right? So if you don't have core values as a person or as a family, then you're cooked. You're cooked. You don't have anything to dictate, where to go or your boundaries, right? So it's increasing your self-awareness so that you can manage your finances better, the financial literacy and stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yep. And if you were talking to a freshman on their first day of practice, could you talk a bit about the first thing that they should do to build a brand that lasts after graduation?
Yeah. So, okay, how much time do I have with that person? If I have like 15 minutes to talk to that person, I would ask more questions about them to see if they know themselves, how well they know themselves.
Yeah.
The last 2 minutes is I would pull everything that they told me, tell them who they are, affirm to them who they are, prop them up so they know, man, I truly am valuable. Then once that makes sense to them, once they realize, yeah, I really am awesome, I really am worth something, I'm valued, then when you talk brand, it'll connect. There's no disconnect, right? Then they can see it because they've owned it. But if I talk brand, talk business, whatever, there's not going to be a buy-in. There's a disconnect because they see that externally as something else and me as something else because they're already, as a freshman going into college, they're already insecure. Even if they're the best athlete in the world, the person's going to be insecure because, oh, maybe this girl might not like me or whatever. Everybody's going to have a tiny hint of insecurity that you can overcome through self-awareness.
Yes.
Right? So I would ask more questions about them, have them speak it to me, and then once I get all that stuff, I hit them and be like, yo, this is who you are, dude. You're incredible because X, Y, and Z, right? Because you told me this, blah, 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 blah. And then once there's the buy-in, then we put them on the track to, these tangible or these intangible skill sets that will help them build their brand. They could be super successful and never play, right? Because of how they see themselves.
Absolutely.
They might even leave college because they're already banking and start a startup. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. But do you help them? I guess do they take that to social media as well? And once you've kind of instilled that in them, and I love what you say about questions as well, because it is honestly, I think, sales and or understanding a problem is all about just asking fundamental questions, asking the stupid questions and getting a grip of things. And in sales, so important as well, in terms of understanding the person you're talking to. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it makes more sense for them in social. Once they realize who they are, and then you can go and build out your structures and your format, your content library will all
yeah,
stem from who you are, right? Because it's easy to find categories. You can talk about wealth, resilience, relationships, all under the umbrella of who you are. And then as long as it makes sense, but that's AI can help with that, right? So social
yeah.
becomes so much easier when you know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And it
Yeah.
is just, it's like, I've literally started a lot myself as well. I've been doing like daily posts, sometimes 2 or 3. And like the format that's killing it right now is just like super natural, super authentic. It's not like, overproduced videos, especially when everybody can tell that with AI easily. And there's like loads of negative parallelism and, and AI generated scripts and stuff. And it's like, people just literally they value like just humans who are just willing to click record and just talk. It's like, that's the thing that's quite rare now. So it's easier than before when overproduced stuff was valued.
Right,
So
right,
if you
right.
understand yourself, now it's easy. It's like,
Yeah,
bang.
if you look at Alex Hormozi's recent ads, right, a lot of them are the grainy, on the phone,
Yeah.
like you hear that kind of stuff, because he's seen a lot of that. Because he was the originator of all the really cool, text overlays, but now
Mm.
he's changing it and he's going a little more organic, and they're testing it, right? And there's a reason why he's testing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on, man. That's all the questions that I have for now. Do you want to cover anything else to post, or, where can people find what you're doing? Anything?
Yeah, NILDealfinderPro.com is where you can go. There's a free trial. But if you're an athlete and a creator, you can join our creator access pass where it's free for life. So it's just NILDealfinderPro.com/creator, and you'll see the criteria there and how you can make it free for life. Good job, dude. I think what you're doing is smart. You're definitely gonna do well. Keep me posted if there's anything I can do to help, man.
Man, I
Um,
really appreciate it.
yeah, interested
Thanks,
in what
man.
you guys do in the space.
Lovely. And thanks to everybody who's jumped back to the lead. And go ahead, go ahead.
Well, offline, I want to show you
Okay.
something after we. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Okay,
gonna blow
cool.
you away. Yeah, it's gonna blow you
Yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah. Thank. Okay, cool, amazing. Yeah, thank you for joining the Lead in the Deal Founder podcast, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Let's go.